sheriff in Clear Creek County, telling us today he knows his department messed up and he's fixing those mistakes.
Denver 7 Investigates Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kowaleski spoke with the sheriff today. And Tony, you have learned new exclusive details about the search for the killer.
Yeah, sitting down with the sheriff, and Sheriff Harris told us early this afternoon he was extremely confident in the progress of that investigation into the death. Now, conversely, he was disappointed in how this call for service was handled, and to his credit, he owned the mistakes he discovered.
How tough is it for you to do this interview right now?
It's uncomfortable because, right, we are trying to build something in Clear Creek County, right? We have a checkered past. That's why I'm here. That's why I was asked to take the job.
Clear Creek County Sheriff Matt Harris taking ownership of failures by his deputies on a call that started out as a missing person investigation.
Somebody called our department asking for assistance, and we didn't investigate it thoroughly.
Sheriff Harris released this detailed statement telling his community that new information he discovered during the past 72 hours exposed failures by his department. Specifically, he wrote, "Unfortunately, during our initial assessment upon the report of a missing person last Wednesday, our response failed to meet our professional standards."
What's the most important part of this statement?
Most important part is our initial response was unacceptable, which is not acceptable. For lack of a better phrase, blew it off and didn't investigate it too thoroughly. And doing that it's just not acceptable.
I'm the one that went up to the property and realized things were awry.
News broke over the weekend. Residents concerned about their friend and neighbor, Paul Peavey. His body later located by a volunteer search party.
He was one of us, and he was one of my best friends.
It's disappointing, but it is what it is. I mean, we failed, and we didn't handle it correctly.
And while Sheriff Harris's team investigates what went wrong on that call, his primary focus now is on the investigation into the death.
Let's shift to the investigation. How confident are you that you're going to get the bad guy?
Extremely. I'm very confident. Despite how we misstepped on the front end, the investigative work thereafter and since then has been excellent, has been top-notch. The community would be proud of the work that we're doing.
Somebody out there did this. What's your message to that person right now?
We're going to get you. We're going to get you. I'm confident.
We are going to get you. That's what the sheriff said. And in his statement to the community, Sheriff Harris also apologized to the members of the search team who had that unfortunate experience of locating Mr. Peavey's body. He also promised an internal investigation to determine how and why his department failed. Jason, Jessica.
Our Tony Kowaleski in for us tonight. And as the sheriff mentioned, the checkered past, this is not the first time the Clear Creek Sheriff's Office has dealt with controversy. Back in June of 2022, Christian Glass was shot and killed by a deputy while sitting in his car. Glass had called for help after his car got stuck on an embankment. He told dispatchers he had 2 knives, a hammer, and a mallet in the car, part of his work as an amateur geologist. His family later said he was having a mental health episode. When deputies arrived, he wouldn't get out of the car. They fired beanbag rounds and a taser, and eventually Glass was shot when he allegedly swung a knife out of the car's window. The deputy who shot Glass was convicted of reckless endangerment, but the jury could not reach a verdict on a second-degree murder charge. Now, we should note Sheriff Matthew Harris wasn't in charge at the time. He took over a year and a half later with the promise of rebuilding the sheriff's office.